Hey, and we're live. Welcome to WGSN-DB, Going Soul Network Radio. I am your host of the Barbershop, Dr. Christopher Salute. Today on the Barbershop, and TikTok as well, YouTube, Facebook, Yik Yak, I don't know. We are talking a bit about men and social media. How should men be conducting themselves on social media? And before you get in on this, male podcast, we're talking about men and being alpha. No, that's not what we're here to do, right? Everyone knows how we are on the Barbershop. We like to make sure that we are doing the right thing by men, that we are teaching you to both express yourself and not be a complete and utter D-bag. So that's, in essence, what we're going to do today. Talk about not being a complete and utter D-bag. So we've got some announcements to make. Obviously, the show is brought to you by all of the wonderful things that we do. Bold Magazine, Fabu Plus Magazine, That Professor Life Consulting and Coaching. Please give me a buzz. It's so funny when we have folks message me and they're like, my relationship or this and that. I'm like, I get paid to coach this stuff. So, I'm not going to, I can't really, hi, bestie. Can't really talk to you about this, but feel free to engage me. I'm not as expensive as you might think. And, a lot of folks don't realize how the right relationship or working within the right relationship can really impact their day. I mean, I can tell you categorically, as someone who's been both single and not single, when my love life is not where I need it to be, the rest of my day really does suck. Or if I'm not existing in a place that I want to be existing in romantically. So feel free to give me a buzz there. What's going on with me? With me, a lot of great stuff. Teaching a lot of classes. Go out and buy the book, right? The College Admission. You can just Google The College Admission, Christopher Salute. Go on Amazon. It's a bestseller in a couple of different categories. Get a copy of the book. It's not that it's like a $10 book. And if you have anybody in your life who's going to college, making some decisions about their life, about their world, about their career, get the book. Absolutely. We definitely need your support there. So we're talking today about social media, right? We're talking today about social media and how men do act and should be acting on social media, and kind of what's the difference. And I like to think about, I always bring in a couple of movies that kind of illustrate the point with regard to men acting on social media. And I had some trouble because there are so many movies now that depict folks on social media, but they don't actually talk about, the actions on social media. The one, Joker is a guest in the show. He just walked by. I think about, movies like, I think it's 10 things, not 10 things. He's Just Not That Into You, right? Where Drew Barrymore talks about, how you get rejected on 16 different platforms. But, the major difference is that, hi, baby, you really need to be shaking yourself right now? That's the point. Daddy loves you. He wakes up and now is the time he wants to shake himself. Love you very much, my dog. But Drew Barrymore talks about getting rejected on several different platforms. And, I think the problem with that clip is that it's outdated. So we have to kind of revamp that that clip a little bit. So how should men be acting on social media? 3 movies that kind of depict this. Number 1, The Social Dilemma, and that's more of a documentary than a movie, but The Social Dilemma really specifically talks about how social media is designed to suck you in with terrible behavior, right? It's designed to suck you in by showing you pictures of your ex, by showing you pictures of your ex with their new girlfriend or boyfriend, by showing, by bringing people into your feed that will trigger you, right? So just be aware of those things, right? Don't get triggered. Don't spend spend that kind of energy on social media, right? Number 2, one of my favorite movies, Dear Evan Hansen, talks a lot about social media, but more about how this particular gentleman was depicted on social media, how social media was used for his movement, and then ultimately finding out that his movement was completely bogus, completely not what he had depicted it to be. And then lastly is the movie Chef. Now, this is one particular movie that both talks about social media and absolutely depicts what not to do on social media. So one thing, if you haven't seen the movie Chef, definitely watch the movie Chef. A lot of folks think it's about cooking, right? It's a movie called Chef, but it's a movie about family, 100%. It's about a guy and his son. In fact, I think I'll watch it tonight when I go to sleep. And, he talks a bit in that movie about how he gets ripped apart on social media, and he screams at this food critic. He's like, "You're not getting to me," but obviously the guy was getting to him, and he's all over social media being depicted as this jerk and these things and blah, 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 blah. And, there's a lot of Twitter involved and like who's tweeting and who's talking and who, don't say this and think before you tweet and that kind of stuff. So really interesting. So as I'm listing out, there's a lot of different ways in which, men should be and shouldn't be, kind of talking about or acting on social media. And I want to get some interaction, right? Whether you're on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, we're live. Tell me what you're thinking. And the two questions that I have for you is, men, how do you want to look on social media? What is it that you want to depict for yourself when you are on social media? Women, and assuming hetero relationships, right? So, if you're attracted to men, anyone attracted to men, if you're attracted to a man, what do you want to see on social media, him doing on social media? What do you not want to see him doing on social media, right? I think that's really important. So I brought up a couple of really cool. Oh, Karen says hi. Lexa says you said chef. I thought the menu. No, totally different show, totally different movie. So a couple of things that I kind of thought about with regard to social media, right? Is I thought about the idea, when I would be on social media, right, and I was single. And I would often interact with women on social media. And I thought to myself, as I was kind of thinking about this, I thought to myself, what is your goal? Like, because I probably looked thirsty when I was like thirsting over, cool pictures or whatever. If your goal is to not look like that, then you're engaging in the wrong activity, right? If your goal is to look desperate, then sure, absolutely post a picture of you and, your date or whatever, right? I met with a dating coach who I had on my show a couple of years ago, and good friend of mine. And he said, when you break up with someone, hey, Meg, how are you? When you break up with someone, your first inclination is like to post a picture of you and a woman on a date. And he said, that's the wrong thing to do. And I said, really? It's not going to make them jealous? He said, absolutely not. He said, it's going to look desperate. He said, instead, post a picture of 2 drinks on a bar, 1 beer and 1 other drink that would be a drink you're not drinking. The woman is implied in that picture, right? Your ex is going to see that photo on your story. And no matter who you were out with that night, they're going to picture the most attractive person on the planet. They're going to think that you are with someone who is the complete antithesis of them, and yada, yada, yada. Now, I'm not a huge fan of purposefully using social media to manipulate. And I'm certainly not a fan of saying the unsaid on social media. I hate when you go on social media and you say something that you should be saying to your partner or the person. And I do it too. I've done it, right? I've done it in my life. Hate it. So I don't know that I love that explanation. On the other hand, it is brilliant. And it goes to say this. If you learn nothing more from what he said, right? It's not about making your partner, your ex-partner jealous. What it's about is being a bit mysterious and not putting yourself all the way out there, not seeming thirsty and desperate, right? And this could be men, this could be women, right? But men specifically, it's not a good look on a man, right? Some comments here on social media, but do men in general self-reflect about their social media? Honestly, not many. Megan says this is true. It does make you look desperate. Alexa, I don't know. I will say this. I think it depends on the man, right? So obviously I'm like a verbose dude. I like to think of myself as an intellect. So I do reflect upon what I'm perceived as, what I look like, yada, yada, yada. When I'm talking to some of my guys, I'd say about half of them do think about how they are perceived both on social media and in real life. And then the other half are literally like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care. I go on social media, look for sports clips or whatever, and I don't care. So it really depends, and that's the beauty of social media, right? You can kind of come up with your own way to enjoy social media. So, and then, we're also talking about married men and men who are not single, right? How do you appear on social media, right? One thing that I can't stand, I haven't posted on social in a little bit, but I tend to post about Megan pretty often. And that's new for me. I didn't post a lot about the women in my life. And I'll say this. I'll say that it's wrong. It's wrong to do that. I wasn't sure about the relationship. I wasn't sure what I wanted to show, yada, yada, yada. it's important, right? If it's important to your partner to be shown on social media, show them on social media. But moreover, the other thing I think about with men who are partnered, right? And you can be partnered with a man, a woman, whoever you're partnered with. If you love someone, you're in love, you care about someone, and you're on social media, the last thing that you want to do is embarrass them, is to make them look like they don't matter in your life. And let me tell you something. When you do that, you are not only embarrassing them, you are embarrassing yourself. Because I will tell you this, and feel free. It doesn't matter. Men, women, if you are attracted to men, chime in on this. What is the first thing you think of when you know somebody has a partner and they are flirting with you online? What is the first thing you think of? Let me know. I'll let you know what I think. I think that they are disrespecting their partner. I think that they are not a great person. I also think, if I'm going to be honest, I think that their partner is not worth holding on to. And now, do I think that long term? No, it's just the first thing that pops in my head. That's a terrible thing to think. It is a terrible thing to think, right? I saw a meme the other day that was like, girl messages the dude and is like, they're flirting or whatever. And she goes, "Hey, just want to know, do you have a girlfriend?" He's like, Nah, I don't have a girlfriend. Why do you ask? She goes, "Because my girlfriend told me to message you this and screenshot your reply." But first of all, you shouldn't need to do that. I disapprove of that entire thing, but I disapprove of his answer 1,005%. To outright say that you don't have a partner, or be like, no, my partner's cool if I do this. Like, look, if you're ethically non-monogamous, say you're ethically non-monogamous, and be outward about it, right? And that's cool. But if you're not, and you're just using that as like, my partner's cool with it, doesn't look good. It doesn't look good to be like thirsting over women on social media when you have a partner. You know what I mean? It embarrasses them. It's something honestly that I've curbed quite a bit. I know that when I like photos of beautiful women that are definitely my type, I know that it's going to reflect on my partner. Whether they know I have a partner or not, she could see it. Other people could see it. It's not a good look, right? So feel free, chime in. If you're a man, how do you want to be perceived on social media? If you are someone who's attracted to men, how do you want your man to appear on social media, whether you're with them or not? Lexa says, yeah, open relationships mean the other partner knows and approves. Yeah, absolutely. So I pulled up a couple of websites here that I love. One of the things that I coach on, and one of the things that has been said to me constantly, is that you really do know how to build a personality on social media. You don't want to deviate too far from who you are, right? That's not okay. But building a personality and building a collective on social media, a brand on social media, is important. Whether you are single or not, it's important, right? You want to be perceived in a certain way. So there are a couple of good websites here. The first one that I pulled up that I really love, I love the website, but also I love the article. So it's allprodad.com. Allprodad.com. Absolutely freaking love it. So it's the 10 commandments for men on social media. Number 1 is always assume good intent. Social media has damaged a lot of relationships because people assume the worst of someone. So always assume good intent, right? So if your partner's on social media and they say something or do something, approach them about it. Think about the best intention before you do anything like that. Always offer to talk to a hater or critic in private versus having a huge conversation in your comments. You're never going to win. You're never going to win. You're never going to look good at all. Don't post anything that you feel like you have to defend, right? So whether you are single or not single, right? Posting something on social media that you feel like you have to defend is not a good idea. So for example, if you're with someone, if you're seeing someone, right, even if it's casual, even if you're not exclusive yet, and you post, going on date night and it's not with that person, you're gonna have to defend that. And let me tell you something. It may make you feel good to kind of use that leverage and let somebody know that you're desired. They are dating you because you're desired. They're dating you because you're desirable. You don't need to do that. Doing that is a nasty, nasty thing. Reminding someone on social media or otherwise that you are a desirable person is complete horseshit. Don't try to defend somebody else's post, tweets, or opinion when somebody gets in on them, unless it's something that you truly believe in. I completely agree with that. This one says only post what your family would be proud to see, but I'd say post things that you'd be okay with everyone seeing, right? If you're okay with it, post it, right? Stay off of toxic people's social media pages. Never make posts that name call, blame, shame, or accuse others. Post or tweet only to educate, not retaliate or humiliate. 1,000%. One of the things that I'll do, man or woman, I will unfriend someone the fastest if they post about their ex, their family member, in like a terrible way, and they give me a whole paragraph about, well, you did this and you cheated on your taxes, and then you hit this car and it was a hit and run, and then you lied and you have an unregistered firearm. Like, I don't know, whatever. I'm unfriending you. Don't care who you are, unfriending you, because I don't trust people who put that all out there on social media, and B, I don't want there to be any information of mine that gets out there. God forbid you make something up because I don't answer your message the right way, or I comment on something, or I like the wrong post or whatever. Not having it. Cut. Bye. See you later. Post and go. Don't post and watch. Don't worry about comments. Don't worry about likes coming. They're going to come. Don't be desperate about it. Number 10, never spend more time posting and tweeting than reading things that make you feel better. So one thing that I have done recently is I've taken quite a break from social media, and it's been really healthy for me. I've been reading, spending more time with my boo, doing a lot of crafting, doing a lot of art, writing, that kind of stuff. So for sure. Alexis says the new movie Ghosted on Apple Plus. Chris Evans breaks all the social media photos, rules, and I'd love to see that one. That sounds like a good one for sure. So that is your top 10 kind of commandments on social media. This other social media guide is stylegirlfriend.com. So is the website for men or for women? Helping guys look, feel, and act their best. So style girlfriend, like they are your style girlfriend. Okay, got it. So how to act on social media, a modern man's guide. After all the fluff, number 1, present yourself authentically. Absolutely love this. Don't make stuff up. Don't manipulate people. Don't try to make yourself more than you are. I could tell you 1,000%. The dude who's posting a rollie on social media, or a wad of cash. The rollie's fake. The wad of cash is his entire bank account. It's done. I can tell you, I have never posted less on social media when I'm having a successful year. When I am being successful, when I am making money, when I'm on good dates, when I am looking good, when I am having fun at a party, when I am enjoying my life, I am not posting on social media about it. The number one thing I can tell you, and I've told this to friends all the time, they call me, they text me, oh, this party's so great. Then go enjoy the party. Go enjoy your life. You don't need to be telling me about how great your life is. The minute you tell me how great your life is, I'm going to assume your life is awful. 1,000%. So, it's like that movie I watched this weekend, Air, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, about how Nike acquired Michael Jordan as their like number one, sponsored guy. And they told Ben Affleck Ben Affleck's character, Wilton, whatever, the guy who invented Nike. They told him to come in a few minutes late, which is like a tactic that you use to show people that you're busy or whatever. And so he gets in to the meeting a couple minutes late, and he's not prepared to be late because he's never late. And he says something like, I wanted to be here because this is a very important meeting, and I'm late because I'm a very important person. And Matt Damon starts pitching, and he's like, no, hold on a second. I was just in the middle of telling him how important I am. And so, it kind of reminds me of like when you're on social media, if you have to tell people how great you are, you're not that great. Like, you're not that great. I hate having to tell people how great I am. If you make me remind you how great I am, you're out of my life. Not someone that I want to be involved with. So present yourself authentically. It says a few selfies never hurt anybody. You're feeling yourself. Post yourself a little bit. Right now, you can post a reel. You can throw 30 selfies on there. Get those thirst traps going, but do it in a way that is authentic, right? People can tell pretty quickly. And people tell me all the time, you posted that because you wanted some likes. Yeah, probably did. the reality is when I look good and I feel good, I'll also want to say good stuff too. So say something good, say something interesting, right? We're in a position, I think, as men in 2023, and this is the first time in our lives, in the lifetime of men that have been on this planet that we know of, that you can do this, man. Like you can be a little bit more talkative. You can be a little bit more verbose. You can be a little bit more authentic and emotional and psychologically set, like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the word? Like open, you know what I mean? Like talk about things, don't just put your picture up. Let me, first of all, I've gained about 40 pounds over the past, I don't know how many, maybe 4 or 5 years. And so, it took a long time for me to get back to loving my body. Dad bods are in, I get it. But when your body changes, your body changes. And it's hard. It's really hard to love your new body. And so it took me a couple of years, honestly, to start posting authentic shots of me in the pool or with my, changing, or with clothes that were tight fitting or whatever, or just new photos of me. And, in that time frame, now, just so you know, I'm a body positive dude. I run Body Positive magazine, so I'm there. But it took me some time. In the interim, what did I do? Like, I wasn't going to not post on social media. So I got into TikTok. I got into Reels. I started posting more about the thoughts in my head than how I looked. And I realized a couple of things. One is that those are way more permanent and way more, attractive on social media. And number two is that through those posts, first of all, it's no secret, right, that and this is unfortunate, that men are looked at for their resume more than their looks, and unfortunately women are looked at for more than their looks. So we as men have the ability, and it shouldn't be this way, I'm not saying that this is a good advantage to have, but we have the ability to really share our thoughts and our souls and these things. And that is what a lot of folks find attractive, because we're in a fortunate position to be thought of as intelligent, full beings. And I think unfortunately, we've got a lot of ways to work in society to see women that same way. And I hope that we are doing the right stuff to get us there. But the whole point of that is, men, you don't have to show off. You don't have to show off yourself to show off your, like, who you are, right? Show off, career tips that you've got, or a presentation that you made, or, these types of things. And what the funny thing is, was after doing that for a couple of years and not really loving my new body, was I got so many more compliments on how good I looked. And so I was like, oh, I could show a little dad bod, and so it's okay, right? So you kind of ease into that, right? Point is show some selfies, but also show your brain, show your heart, show your soul. These are all good things. Don't feel like you have to present this like perfect curated self on social media. That's definitely not, what you want to be, right? What you want to be is somebody who is complete, is a complete person who, is full of flaws and all those wonderful things. And so that, that's how you kind of want to present yourself. Now, we've talked about kind of presenting yourself, but how are you interacting on social media, right? Who are you following? Who are you not following? I think that you want a good, interestingly enough, I see a lot of men who follow models. They follow adult film stars. I'm sure I do too. Is that appropriate? Is that the way in which you want to be looked at? Is that the way in which you want to use social media? I don't know. The other side of it is too, I see people who are like only follow sports and stock market. There's a light in between there somewhere, right? There's, find things that interest you, find things that speak to you, find things that you can repost that are exciting. People are going to look at, I promise you, people are going to look at who you follow. People are going to look at what you like. People are going to look at where you comment. And it matters. It absolutely matters. So, put yourself in a position to interact in the way in which you want to be perceived. Lexa says people can sniff out a fake. Authentically sharing all parts of yourself is preferred. I appreciate that. Since you follow me, I'm going to assume that you think I'm authentic. So I gotcha. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, be careful about who you're following, what you're liking, what you're commenting on. It's super important. And like I said, people do notice those things. Funny enough, I did a clip on TikTok when I first got on years and years ago, and that's where I got most of my followers. And it was about plus size dating, and the clip basically said, I see a lot of people on plus size on dating apps, and they say I'm fat butt, or I'm plus size butt, or I'm thick butt. And the butt already implies that those things are negative, right? So, how about just saying I'm fat and that's it. I'm fat and I'm great. I'm this and that. And, it got a lot of hits and whatever. And so I got a lot of folks who, started to follow me, who were plus size women. And they call on this girl Yiddies, right? You seen Yiddies before? Yiddies I don't know if she does it that much anymore. I think she does some new content, but she'll choose she'll tell you if you're a fake or not. Are you capping? Are you liking plus size women because you think that's the way to get more clout? And I didn't know that she even existed. Now we're mutuals on TikTok, and everyone was calling her out. I actually messaged her and I said, can you please not do a video on me, because I don't want to be out there in that way. Just because I run my social media brands and I've been called out by a lot of folks, and it just wasn't what I wanted. But I think she commented, and a bunch of other people commented, and they were like, yeah, this dude follows like a ton of attractive plus size women. He's definitely not capping, right? But that was one of the first times I said to myself, oh, people are in my followers list. They are looking at who I follow. That's important, right? It's important to see who you follow, who you comment, who you like, right? What you like. And, specifically about comments, comments can get you in a lot of trouble. They can help, right? Commenting on things that interest you will get you followers. People will follow you because you say and comment on cool stuff. I can't tell you how many times, and I never did this on purpose. And then I was like, oh, that was very interesting. There would be somebody who was, attractive, and I liked them or whatever. And maybe they had a gajillion followers, and I might comment on a picture of theirs. And all of a sudden I would get 2 or 3 followers that followed them, who thought I was attractive. And so that goes to say, people are looking at your comments, and they are deciding in that moment if you are who they want you to be, and who they want to interact with. So the other part of it is too, somebody brought this up to me recently. I was in Megan's comments. People were being jerks, and they were saying nasty things to her, as they sometimes do. And I just, she tries to roll off, and I don't know, I still don't know. I think I know, but I won't assume. I don't know if she really does care a lot, or if she's conditioned herself. I think deep down inside, everyone, gets a little hurt, and she's not commenting back, and I'm just going at it with these dudes. I'm like, you mother son of a, and they're probably freaking 7 years old. You know what I mean? And finally, at one point, I lost it, and I was like, I'm gonna throw you down a flight of stairs and blah blah blah. And I hope you break your legs. And I really went off. And one of them replied with, do you think your employer would like to see that? And first of all, I think my employer would laugh, because I don't think it was that serious. But it did remind me to take a step back for a second and say, anybody can screenshot a comment. Don't do that. You know what I mean? So super important. Lexus says, you assume correct. If it's all plus sized redheads, TikTok just makes your feed more full of them. If it's all plus size redheads, TikTok just makes your feed more full of them. It's a cycle. So in other words, what if you like one plus size redhead, you're going to get more of them? I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to see. I don't really follow new people on social media too often, unless you have something really interesting to say. In fact, I do a lot more unfollowing than I do following lately. So not something that I'm too aware of. And I typically, look, habitually, once in a while I see somebody who just looks incredible, and I'm like, boop, follow, and I'm like, oh man, what'd you do? But more often than not, I'm following people who say really interesting things, or they could be attractive, but they could be attractive and say something really interesting, or we have mutual friends, or whatever. And so I don't know. I don't know if that's, I'm saying on any one app, any one type clowns, you get more clowns. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So anything that you like, yeah, if you follow one thing, you're going to get more of those things. Absolutely, for sure. And so I completely agree. So, I think the bottom line here is there's 2 things that we want to be aware of, right? The first thing is how you present yourself on social media, and men, I will say this, and I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but I'll acknowledge, men are still in a privileged place right now. They're in a privileged place. And you can say and do things on social media that make you look really good. But with that privilege comes a quick downside. If you don't use social media right, you can say and do things that are going to make you look absolutely unattractive. I think one thing that we don't have, I think, is sexuality online. I think that women, and maybe I'm wrong, chime in if I'm wrong, women, I think, can speak a little bit more about sexuality online. There's kind of the OnlyFans phenomenon that has kind of happened. And I think that they can do that a little bit more than men can. I think men, if like I had an OnlyFans, for example, you would think that I'm like some nasty dude, but I think a woman can do that, and it's kind of okay. And so I think sexuality is something that we as men really, don't talk enough about. But there's private groups for that. You could join a swingers group, you could join a BDSM group, you could, have some fun, or just, find some private friends and start a group. But other than that, there's a lot that you can do to make yourself look attractive on social media. So honestly, I mean, just think twice. I always think to myself, let me think twice before I post this. Let me like sit on it, feel it for a second, and then I'll post it and kind of see, what it is. So posting is one thing, presenting yourself is one thing, but how you interact on social media, I think, is super important. Going around and just thirsting over people and telling them they're hot and blah, 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 blah. I remember, and I've done that before. I've done that before. And I remember one time, semi-recently within the past year, I wanted to comment on somebody, and I thought to myself, what's that going to do? What? First of all, and I was ethically non-monogamous at the time, but I was not in the market for anybody. So what? Why? What did I need to do? Why did I need to say that? So I was like, nah, screw it, delete it, right? So just think twice before you comment as well. And I think, a good blend of personal and professional is probably okay. You don't want to be all professional because people think you're a square, but you definitely don't want to be all personal because you do, you have several sides to yourself. But I think the reality is too, we didn't get a lot of commenters on YouTube, so I'm a little ticked off at my listeners right now, not telling me what you expect to see a man do on social media. But, I think the bottom line is, when you think about it, is that, social media is going to amplify you anyway. People are going to look at you and they're going to make their own assumptions about who they think you are. You don't need to help them. You don't need to make it any worse than it already is by amplifying and making yourself look, 10 times worse or better or whatever than it is. Because the bottom line is, like Lexa said on TikTok, not being your authentic self is absolutely going to shine through. And I don't know, have I not been authentic? I feel like I've been authentic, but have there been times where I was looking to thirst trap a little bit? I was having a rough day. I wanted some likes. Sure, absolutely. Have there been times where I said something that, maybe I was like clout chasing, or maybe I was virtue signaling a little bit, even though I had that belief system, I felt like I needed to say it, a very pick me kind of attitude. I don't know, So anyway, I think just being careful on social media is super important. Understanding that you do have a privilege, you do have great things going on in your life, but don't screw that up, right? There's nothing worse than screwing up a great thing by sounding off on social media and sounding like a D-bag. Anyway, that's the show for the evening. I'm trying to keep them a little shorter so I can keep you all engaged. This is WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio. I am your host of the Barbershop, Dr. Christopher Salute. Tonight we talked about men, social media, being an authentic person in 2023. I think we had a lot of fun. I think what we learned tonight is just don't be a dick. That is the show for the evening. Thank you so much for coming on. Truly, truly appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of your night. That was the Barbershop. Cut.